And he was Nazi adjacent.
He was a fucking
All right,
Nazi.
fine.
Yeah, I think he was a Nazi.
He was a Nazi. He spoke German. Yeah, he was teaching
okay,
the other
there you
guy.
go.
He was teaching the hillbilly guy German, whatever that guy was. They're Mr. Joshua of the crew.
Good rap. I like that.
That's funny.
Right now is the time for me to leave everything I know behind. No more lies.
People of every color marching side by side, marching across the fields where the million fascists died. You're bound to lose. You fascists are bound to lose. Welcome to Rabbit Fighters. That's a quote from my boy Billy Bragg. Because tonight on Rabbit Fighters, we're talking about your favorite fascist fighter and mine, Dr. Henry Jones Jr. We here at Rabbit Fighters have been unequivocally anti-Nazi and decidedly pro-Nazi punching since the early 1930s. It's also worth noting, we've been pro-Indiana Jones since 1912. I'm Joshua, and to help Greg, Brian, and myself with our discussion of 2023's Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, we have our esteemed colleague, Professor of Temporal Archaeology at Barnett College, Dr. Tim. Welcome, Tim.
No last
Dr.
name.
Tim.
Thank you,
Doctor
Rabbit
Who.
Fighters. Thank you. Thank you for having me back once again. It's an honor.
Yeah, did you switch careers from weather to? No, it was disasters.
I wear many hats,
Many
Brian.
hats, yeah. The funding ran
Renaissance
out
man.
for the weather chasing stuff. So
Today's quite the day for that, isn't it? Though I could have made my money back
I know.
on those student loans for my weather degree, but
from weather.com university.
weather.com.trump.edu.
AccuWeather.edu.
It was a bargain.
No, but I think everybody our age loves Indiana Jones, right? I mean,
It's
like a seminal franchise.
Star Wars and pizza. Yeah, I mean, you would think, unless they're idiots.
I want to say like 70% of the folks who saw this movie in the theater were over the age of 35.
Oh
So
my god, yeah,
I'm going to say yes to that.
yeah,
Most people our age like Indiana Jones.
I took my two kids; they liked it.
yeah.
So this one?
There was a Gen Alpha actor. I forget who it was. It was a woman, and she was saying like, they were like, "Did you see your own movie?" And she was like, "Are you kidding? It's like 2 hours long." I was like, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
You didn't see your own damn movie?
Yeah, 2 hours and 47 minutes. It
That's on brand.
Too long. Who has
Okay.
time?"
At the risk of,
So busy on
aging
TikTok.
ourselves out in the first 5 minutes of this podcast, why don't one of us talk about what the plot of the movie was? Anyone remember what
Well,
this fifth
I could say it.
installment in the franchise?
Fifth installment. Yeah. Okay, so to start, there's a guy named Indiana Jones, and he is famous for running
Going way
around the
back.
world and stealing people's stuff, but then putting it in a museum, which makes it okay, like the University of Chicago's Oriental Institute, which is just full of plundered loot, from around the
entire
world.
British Museum. Yeah.
The entirety of England's museums and so many other places. But Indiana Jones does it, and it's okay because he's American, and he steals from bad guys. So he's been doing this for so many years that now he's very old. And it's 1962 or something, or 69.
9.
When the moon landing, et cetera, happens. So now he's old. But in the beginning of the movie, he's young Indiana Jones, and then they jump to him being old. And this time, he doesn't want adventures. He just wants to be old and retire and be sad because he's divorced now and his kid's dead and he doesn't have a job anymore because he retired. And then a British girl comes into his life, and she has curly hair and spunk, and she knows all about Archimedes and the dial.
Curly?
It's kind of curly. It's kind of wavy.
All right.
And she has a British accent, which makes her intriguing in his class of mopes. And she has drinks with him. And it turns out she's his goddaughter from his old friend who he used to plunder loot with. And she seems to want to help him on an adventure to find Archimedes' dial, half of Archimedes' dial. But really, she's in deep to like the Middle Eastern mafia or something, and she just wants money and is about to screw him over. But they go off on this series of adventures to find the other half of Archimedes' dial, which may or may not be able to open a portal in the time-space continuum and let you travel backward or forward in time. And there's also a short round replacement kid who's like her not son, but
Teddy.
he tried to rob her at some point, and then he hung onto her car door long enough for her to respect him. And so now he's a 12-year-old with a mustache that follows him around and
It's
helps
a
with
hell
the
of a
hijinks.
backstory.
Yeah,
honestly.
hell of a backstory.
And
then, of course, as there always are in the good Indiana Jones movies, there are Nazis, and plenty of them, to chase Indiana Jones, shoot at him, and cause general peril and be creepy. And at the end, he is able to connect the two halves of the Dial of Destiny, and they go back to not Nazi Germany's days of splendor, when the evil Nazi was going to kill Hitler and do all the right moves.
Oh, sorry, did you say the evil Nazi?
Yeah, the evil
It's
Nazi.
a little redundant. Do you
I
wanna-
mean, I feel like some of them were just button pushers, right? At least that's what they said when the war ended. I was just following orders. I was not even evil. I was just sweeping up the remains of our enemies.
You're talking about Mad Mikkelsen,
Mads
slash
Mikkelsen,
Elon
yeah.
Musk lookalike,
Elon Musk,
who's
laminated
Nazi
face
trying
guy,
to change time.
who
yeah.
looks a lot like the guy whose face melted in the first movie with the "We are not
Tot.
thirsty" guy. But that guy was going to go back in time, kill Hitler, take over as the Führer, which I don't know why everyone would follow this random scientist, but that's how it was going to work. And he was going to make none of the blunders that Hitler made, like invading Russia and starting a two-front war. But instead, they go back to the siege of Syracuse, and everything goes to hell. And at the end, they go back to the future, which is actually the past, and the Marion Ravencroft, who is his ex-wife, comes back and buys him groceries,
And they get ice cream.
and they get ice cream. The rest of the
The
cast gets
end.
ice cream. And that's the
All right,
end
we'll
of
see you guys
Dial
next
Destiny.
week, everybody. That was a good synopsis.
That's it. That's the story.
Yeah.
Did I mention Nazis?
Yeah, I feel like maybe you're doing a little bit of a disservice to Indiana Jones because he wasn't really plundering. The Nazis were the plundering. They had a whole train full of shit they had plundered.
Right.
He was just trying to rescue stuff. Like,
It belongs in a museum. He says that in every movie at least once. Yeah, he's a plunderer though. He goes into all these massively important historical sites and just fucking lays waste to them. Like rolls boulders down them, sets off all the darts, blows them up, rips the dial out of like the desiccated hands of one of the most famous men in history, destroys the fucking guy's tomb. He's a
Trumps all over.
He's
He's
a
just-
bull in a china shop. Yeah, like they need the Wachovia Accords
the rookie
just for
walking through the crime scene.
Indiana Jones. Yeah, he fucks up too much stuff.
I'm trying to think, going back through all the movies, do all of his conquests involve some sort of like religious artifact for some reason? Why are they all religious?
Most of the good ones. Then the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which we will not speak of for very long, does not have religious anythings. It's an alien skull.
Yeah, I know.
And
But
that's a shit movie. Yeah.
I'm confused because Greg said there's 5 Indiana Jones movies. There's only 4. So
I didn't say 5. Joshua said 5.
Joshua said 5. Okay, yeah, there's only 4. This
I was just
alien
going by
thing you're talking
Paramount's
about. I don't know what
contract,
you're
so-
talking about there.
Yeah,
Is that a video game? Maybe that's what it is.
I think it is fan fiction. I think it's fan fiction.
you know what? I want to watch it again.
There is a really good video game. It's like a
The
Indiana
Crystal
Jones
Skull?
and the
Is it?
Secrets of Atlantis or something that I played in
that's
1993 or something. It was awesome.
That is
It was
old.
so good.
Yeah, that's like
Man.
CD-ROM.
Okay.
Oh.
Once
You know what?
I admit,
Dr. Tim knows what's up.
I remember thinking Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was absolute horse shit.
It's
But
horseshit.
it probably still is, but I feel like I should rewatch it to see if it is truly as bad as I remember.
I rewatched episode 1 because I felt that same way. I was like, it can't be that bad. Oh
I
God,
don't-
it's worse.
worse.
It's even fucking worse.
I do remember Shia LaBeouf is in it, and he plays.
swinging on vines.
Yeah, he's swinging.
So
and
was Shia LaBeouf his son?
yeah,
Yeah.
he plays.
So I'm supposed to
Mutz's
believe
son.
that Shia LaBeouf goes to Vietnam?
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't
sure.
believe
He's a greaser, and then he goes to Nam because
Yeah.
that's the next step.
That was the part in the movie where he's like, "My son died," and I was like, "Yes."
Shia LaBeouf?
Thank
Shia
God.
LaBeouf.
Brian, I've actually
won't
done
be
that
coming.
recently.
You
I
watched
made
it?
my kids watch all of them, the Indiana Jones movies prior to going to see this one, Dial of Destiny, in the theaters.
Mm.
And because Brian, when you and I saw that like opening night, remember years ago, that fourth one that we don't speak of, and we were both like, "What the fuck is that? What just happened?"
He
But like
blew up.
rewatching it, it's actually not that bad, and like Shia's
Really?
legitimately really good in it. Yeah, like
Oh, God.
he's really good in it.
Are you
I guess I'm gonna have
joking?
to watch it.
No, I'm dead serious. Like it's
I
not.
don't
It's
like him.
it's still the worst one, but like it's not nearly as like horseshit as I remembered it.
But did they edit out the part where he gets into a fridge for the nuclear bomb and just
That's the
gets
beginning,
blown
isn't
Well,
it?
what else?
6.5
How else is he supposed to escape the
miles
nuclear
away?
bomb, Greg? I mean, like,
I mean,
I just like not being there.
you
would
know
be
what the
one
real?
way.
You know, they don't make fridges like they used to. What can I say?
doesn't that movie start exactly the same way as this movie is? Like Indy's already like
I've
in
watched it.
captivity from the bad guys.
I've
Isn't he
watched
like
it in my
already
brain.
captured?
I don't know. Did he have a bag over his head? That was.
I thought
that
it
was,
had something to do. He was like in
He
some
was like
warehouse.
Area 50. He was like
yeah, Area 51
it's like Area
or
51 or
yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I've
All right.
forgotten almost everything about it except Shia LaBeouf swinging on vines.
And I
We're
remember
talking
something
way
at the
too
end
much
where there's
about
like
the
a
wrong
We'll
temple.
talk
movie.
about this one. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
let's-
But what
So-
I was bringing that to that because I was bringing it up because this was such a monumental save. I feel like
Yes.
it went,
Yes.
so Last Crusade was fantastic with Sean Connery, whatever. Again, Nazis.
Right off in the sunset.
Then there's just
Michael Jordan.
yeah, you could have left off that. Then they did this piece of shit, whatever, and then it was like you can't end on that. And so I
No.
feel like they finally did something and allowed him to ride off into the sunset, and it was actually good. And I think a lot of it has to do with
Yeah.
Phoebe Waller-Bridges' writing in this, and like
I
whatever.
watched it on a plane because it was one of those movies I didn't want to watch because of the Crystal Skull. And then I was on a plane and I was flipping through all the movie choices and they were all crappy. And I was like, yeah, I'll watch this thing on the back of his seat rest, whatever. And I was like, maybe it was a small format or that I was so stuck and bored in this plane, but like, I thought it was good. Like,
It is good.
legitimately good. And I was shocked because the last one was so shitty, or at least I remember it being
Yeah,
really
let's
shitty.
dive into exactly what we thought was good about this. Dr. Tim,
Oh,
you're joining us from
Yeah.
Hello there.
the museum in
Howard Halls.
Atlanta, Georgia.
I'm very busy, so I
Just experimenting
Busy.
on ape DNA right now.
there's busy days at the.
Why don't you run us through the list of things that you enjoyed about Indiana Jones and
I'm-
the
well-
Dial of Destiny?
Some things have already been mentioned, like the return of the Nazi bad guys is
Mm.
essential.
Gotta have Nazis.
You got to, and then Phoebe's the best part of the movie. I think everybody's gonna
Yeah.
say that. I mean, 100% hands down.
Not Archimedes?
No,
Wasn't he from Bill and Ted's? He just
I-
wandered in from Bill and Ted's.
I prefer Owl Archimedes from the Disney Sword in the Stone. That's my Archimedes.
Mm.
So,
I
But-
prefer the Owl Boo Boo from Clash of the Titans, but
Oh.
I'm getting off on a tangent.
well,
here.
that's okay. That's to each his
he's,
own.
he's a good owl.
I enjoyed traveling by map once again.
Yeah, I love the maps.
Great to sometimes were some of the journeys in this seemingly like way too short. I'm like, why are we traveling by map, man? Like, what do we like? I want to say like when they went from like
They went from
connection
New
to
York to New
Cleveland.
Jersey.
yeah, when Indy went when he
took
went
the
from
train.
59th Street to 51st, I was like, do we really need a map for this?
This little dot.
Like, one
like,
stop, bro. But
It's like the
then-
Warriors.
my favorite in the theater when I saw this, I thought the de-aging was actually really cool.
It looked good.
In the theater it looked really cool. I got some thoughts about it, seeing it on a smaller screen, but in the theater I remember being like, this is really cool. Those are my top 4. Those are the big things I liked.
For Nazis,
Always,
de-aging,
Nazi
maps.
are the Nazis are, they're the greatest on-screen villains of all time. Because you could make up any crazy shit, oh yeah, the Nazis would do that. Yeah,
They
I mean,
would do that.
absolutely anything.
Absolutely.
And they were tweaked out on so many drugs by the end of the war too. I mean, they were just nuts. So yeah, I could see them buying a bunch of fake antiquities and
Yeah,
trying to
thinking
travel
that
back in time and
the lance that pierced Jesus'
Christ.
skin is going to give them magical powers. Like, that's them Nazis, man.
It melted the Ark of the Covenant melted the flesh off of many of our colleagues. So we are now very interested in anything to do with Christ.
Yeah, I don't even know why did they even care that much about the Ark of the Covenant in the first one.
I love that
Well, that-
the Lance of Lancelot or whatever the fuck they call it was like completely a MacGuffin. Like it had nothing
They all are, but
fucking
the Ark
to
of
do
the
with it at all.
the Ark of the Covenant's like the perfect one though, because it's like, okay, this is a thing, but nobody really knows it. And you're like, yeah, sure. And the lid comes off of this fucking crazy shit happens. Sure. But you know what I mean?
But I mean,
what
the
about
point of
the
that-
cup of Christ? I mean,
Yeah, the cup of
See,
Christ,
that one's too well known though.
Yeah.
I think the Ark of the Covenant's perfect.
no, it's great. It's a great
Yeah.
like thing. Yeah, the great
Yeah.
great MacGuffin.
Mhm.
But I feel like the Ark of the Covenant, at least, like that led to the climax of the movie. The movie's climax was, hey, guess
Opening
what?
that bitch.
We all agree, that even God agrees that Nazis are evil and should be melted. This one, they were like, we found the lance that pierced Christ's side. It's a fake. Anyway, hey, look, there's another thing.
I thought that was like kind of an homage to Last Crusade, where the beginning is like, we found the thing of Coronado, like this big thing, and then like
Don't remember that.
he chases it, and then it fast forward, and then he found it again, and then he ends up at a museum. But that really just kicks off the rest of the adventure.
Yeah,
This was sort of the same thing.
I don't know.
That one starts off with young Indiana Jones, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
River
finding-
Phoenix. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing of Coronado.
Yeah, it's like a cross or something.
the
isn't it?
necklace.
Oh,
Of,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
This one makes me. This one feels like the lance of Christ or whatever. It feels like a Simpsons intro. Where like there's a little tiny plot that leads to Homer being like a plow king or something, and like the beginning of it you think is going to be the movie, and then you're like, oh no, that's not the episode. That was just to get him.
But isn't it supposed to be like a misdirection
Plow
because like
business.
Mad Mortigan is like looking for the other thing?
What's your Mad Mortigan?
He's looking for the he knows that he's looking for the dial, but this whole like Lance thing is like he knows it's a fake. I thought it was
Oh,
kind
you
of
mean
like
Mads Mikkelsen? I thought
Yeah.
you meant the little guy that was with him.
Toby.
Oh, Toby Jones?
I thought you meant the little guy who was like,
Toby?
who
He-
shoots him.
He plays
Toby Wong?
Jack or
Toby-
something. Toby
He also
Chong.
plays a
Fucking
version
Jared,
of my favorite, Truman Capote.
Oh,
yeah.
that's what he was. Okay.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was not in the famous Capote one.
I'm the lesser known.
I'm the lesser known.
Lesser known.
Philip Seymour Hoffman was in the popular one.
He did do the voice pretty damn well. Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yes, Bergdorf.
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 But
Greg,
yeah,
what did you like? What did you like about this
I liked a lot about it. I actually,
Nazi punch fest?
it was like from the beginning of the movie, I was like, "Hey, wait a minute! This seems like a well-made film." And like usually, I can tell very early in a movie whether I'm going to like it or not. And I don't know why. It'll be like sometimes it's the first 30 seconds. I'll be like, "I'm not going to like this movie," even if I was expecting to like it, and then I'm like, and I didn't. And this one right away, I was like, this looks good. It's got the right tone, pacing, like it's back to basics, fighting Nazis, intro scene, full action, great stuff. The de-aging of Harrison Ford is strikingly good. You're like, how the fuck did they do that, man? He looks like Harrison Ford of old. And then they get into the stuff with Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and I'm like, she's fucking great. I know her maybe from something or other. I can't remember what I've seen her in before, but
Fleabag.
what's that?
Fleabag.
Yeah, man.
Fleabag? I haven't seen Fleabag.
Fleabag and Solo.
I haven't seen
Oh
that either.
yeah.
What was it again?
Solo.
The Han
Oh,
Solo
you mean the-
movie.
She's
It's
just
Star
the
Wars Han Solo movie. I've seen that, yeah. But she's great in this, and I was like, man, this like the writing is pretty sharp. Like she's good, and like there's a compelling storyline. I like that they let Indiana Jones be old as fuck sometimes. Where he's climbing the cave wall, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "I'm thinking." And he's like, thinking about my surgically repaired shoulders, and I have 9 bullets in me and a plate in my fucking head, whatever else. So yeah, there was a lot of acknowledging that he's old and at the end of his run. I love having John Rhys Davies back in it, as Sala or whatever, like
Gimli.
yeah, totally. And that was like that must have been about the last movie he made. I think he died right after
He's
they
dead?
made this.
He's
I think
dead?
He is. I think John Rhys Davies is dead, isn't he? Yeah. I mean, look it up, man.
Oh man,
He looks really old, but it's like,
he died at the Battle of Helm's Deep.
but he's one of those
Oh,
guys.
no.
Oh no! But he's one of those guys where you're like, oh, I love this guy. He's great. He's
Yeah.
fun to have. And I really love that they brought Karen
Man, he's
Allen
not dead.
back into this. Okay, I was thinking of someone else. Then, but,
Yeah, he was born in 1944.
He's 80.
yeah, it's still
He will live 1,000 years.
The
Dude, he's old,
Denholm
man.
Elliott is dead.
Denholm
Oh,
Elliott.
dude,
yeah.
he's
Yeah.
super dead.
I think I was thinking of Robbie Coltrane, maybe from
Harry Potter?
Harry Potter series. Yeah, he died. He died recently.
Confirmed dead.
Hagrid. Yeah.
Confirmed.
But yeah, I love that they bring Karen Allen back
Abracadabra.
for the end. That scene was great,
It was good
especially
too.
when she's like, "Is there anywhere?" He's like, "Is there anywhere it doesn't hurt?" And she's like, "Here on the elbow." I was like, "Oh, this is
Throwback.
the end of the series.
Callback to the
This is the
Raiders,
end of the
yeah.
series right here." Yeah,
I feel-
like this is
Yeah.
a worthy end.
I think she had stated that she was bummed, and I wish they had added more of her. I think they just kind of like
Yeah.
threw her in at the end. I was like,
Yeah,
that's
they
kind of
had to.
sucked, but like they should have
Well,
like had her a little bit more.
That they had her at all was nice. And
Yeah,
they-
yeah. I
They
mean,
allowed
they-
her.
But it's a travesty that there was no Ki Hugh Kwan in this.
Oh, I have a whole thing on this.
That really pissed me off because you could have worked him in so many
No,
different
we're
ways.
talking about good stuff.
Mhm.
Save it for the second part.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. You know, the kid was good too. Teddy or whatever his name was.
No, he wasn't.
He was fine.
Doing a short round impression.
No,
Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen is a good Nazi. You know,
I
he
can
does
fly a
good job as
plane.
Nazi.
I can fly a plane.
Yeah, that's like what? No, you can't. You can't fly a fucking plane. Like
I learned
he's
it at a casino table.
85 miles an hour. It's like 88 miles an hour. Then you go back to the future.
Like
But
to see
okay,
him drive a limousine through Shanghai,
good.
dodging rickshaws and all kinds of shit.
Rickshaws,
minecart.
capshaws. Yeah,
Holding on to
all
your
that stuff.
potatoes.
Lao Shay shooting at you.
Yeah, that's that one didn't age as well. Although
Which
I still
one?
like Temple of Doom.
Temple
Temple of Doom.
Yeah, that's
I haven't
not
seen
good.
that in a long time. This is some
It's got
racist
some
shit there,
warts
man.
on it, you know,
God.
but it's still
There's a few problems.
yeah. But
Yeah.
you know,
Well, Dial of Destiny, though, Brian, what did you enjoy about this movie?
yeah. So like I said, I think it was kind of the triumphant return of Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Kind of went out on a dud with you know what? I blame George Lucas because he fucks up everything.
The skull was so sucky. It's
stupid.
just shitty idea.
But anyways, I think like you guys have already said it in a roundabout way. I think it was kind of the return back to the formula, which is like it kind of has a formula, like bring in quintessential bad guys, the Nazis. You start off with action and or a throwback sequence, and then drop them into present day, and then
And
there's
he's teaching. He's always got to be teaching in the
He's
good
always
ones.
gonna
Yeah.
teach him. Yep.
then there's like banter. Then there's like nice little adventures. Then there's always some sort of like chase scene or some sort of vehicle scene in it. Like they
Mhm.
kind of went back to this time they did it with like the tuk-tuks and stuff, but
Yeah.
that was cool to see that. And then, they introduced some wacky characters. I like Antonio Banderas's character of like the deep sea diver
That
was good.
Weird. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like random. Like you're like,
Yeah.
okay.
He
But
needed
There's,
some-
there's no
it was-
Greek
yeah.
actors. They got to get Antonio Banderas to play a
May-
Greek
may
guy.
be in your movie.
But
He's close enough, right?
You remember
yeah,
me?
and I
was in
thought
Puss in Boots.
yeah, adding Phoebe
Couldn't get any
Waller-Bridge
rope
was
pants for that.
was fantastic. I think it also really helped that she wrote it so that it wasn't like damsel in distress writing. It was like she very much was
Oh,
able
yeah.
to like hold her own in terms of like
Yeah.
an extension of her father plus Indiana Jones. Like she had that spirit to her, not just like because previously like even Karen Allen's character kind of played the damsel thing. Definitely in Temple of the Doom, which is
Yeah,
Temple of Doom, which is
Temple of Doom,
obnoxious.
definitely, yeah. Kate Capshaw, like, every 5 seconds.
So yeah, the fact that she could like hold her own and she was incredibly intelligent and she was sort of the reason why they figured this whole thing out. Like, so I thought that was really strong. I didn't really care about the Teddy character. I guess you need a
What-
sidekick. I don't know, whatever.
What
It was a sidekick to the sidekick.
For a second, I want to say one thing I was really glad about, and it's because she wrote this as well, is if some Hollywood skis bag wrote this thing, he'd be like, and then of course Indiana Jones has a thing with the girl, they wouldn't have made it his goddaughter. They would have made her some young academic who has falls for Indiana Jones. They end up together, some crap like that. And
It'd be like a
45 years older than her.
like a
And then
Bill
she turns out to be a
Belichick
Nazi.
scenario.
Like
Yeah.
Indy and some 22-year-old.
Totally, yeah. Like the Bill Belichick relationship at the end there.
Does anybody know like what her level of involvement in the like? What did she just do like a pass at it after it was already kind of done, or because
Oh,
like you
no.
can kind of tell like where her dialogue's in like during the tuk tuk scene where she even like describes herself as being, like beautiful, independent, and then like and she cracks some joke. I'm like, I don't think he's really a professor. Like it's just that just seems like straight out of Fleabag, like the way.
Yeah, I still
So
haven't seen
I
that,
feel
but
like she probably like did like a punch up type of pass through it. I don't think
seems
she was
very
like
natural.
yeah.
I'll say one more thing I liked. I do like. Okay, the time travel thing's a little, but I like when they have a cool prop, like the cool Dial of Archimedes thing. Like that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. Like this whole, like
The
the
mechanism.
I don't want to call it a MacGuffin. Sorry to call it, but it's like the reasoning or whatever. But this one actually like did something, and they kind of pieced the puzzle together. Like that's kind of cool. I thought that was interesting, and I thought it was kind of well plotted. In terms of like how the pieces come together and where they find the other things in terms of the journey. I don't love the fissure in time thing. That seems kind of stupid, but I get it. Like,
I actually liked that.
really?
I kind of liked it.
I like
was
that.
thinking,
I like that Archimedes dialed his thing to only come back to the time to help them against the Romans, though.
I
yeah,
want to talk more about that.
Yeah. Okay.
There's lots of thoughts about that, but I really enjoyed. So as we were watching it, I think it's very important to acknowledge that Nazis suck. But what's worse than a Nazi? An American Nazi. That's worse than a Nazi. And I love that this movie was like really like CIA is complicit in it. NASA was like hiring Nazis for the space program. I like how this movie like it took from like the idealism of Indiana Jones in the previous movies, and because it fast forwarded in 1969, it has to acknowledge like the Cold War and post World War II, like everything falling out from that. That was an interesting angle for an Indiana Jones movie that I did not expect, and I really enjoyed. I also liked, the Brian or Greg, you talked about this, like acknowledging the time that's passing for Indiana Jones, like him becoming like society has passed him by. Like, he's no longer the shit. Like he is yelling at hippies to turn down those fucking needles.
And those hippies are future boomers that are,
totally
gonna be the no sacrifice generation. Yeah.
And I think that's what I love about Indiana Jones in general, is that he just gets this shit kicked out of him constantly. He's like one of the only like action stars, characters, whatever, that that just gets repeatedly punched over and over again and just like almost dies and just like keeps on going, to like sort of comedic effect. Most other like they have brushes with death, but there's like no chance that they're ever gonna die. With Indiana Jones, you kind of feel like he's gonna get run over by a tank, and that might be it. This one, he did get shot, and survived a shockingly long.
Shockingly, they always get shot in the shoulder. They always get shot.
He survived the last hour of the movie
10
after
by the
being
end of this
fatally
one.
shot.
I know, and I love how they're like, come with us.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. You know what?
The rest in time, just so you can see us be victorious or something.
Get shot. They're like, you know what? Burning him.
It's like, we've been trying to kill you for the entire movie. Let's take him along and see if he can fuck things up.
So stupid. Yeah.
Also, Teddy is just a straight up murderer, like handcuffing that dude underwater. Just bails. It's like, damn. All right.
That was
had to be done, man.
Self-defense.
That
guy couldn't have fit through that hole.
That beef bro guy, he was,
and he was Nazi adjacent.
He was a fucking
Nazi. All
Nazi.
right, fine.
Yeah, I think he was a Nazi.
He was a Nazi. He spoke German. Yeah, he was teaching the other guy. He was teaching the hillbilly guy German, whatever that guy was. Mr. Joshua of the crew.
Good rap. I like that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Is that
I'm trying to think what
Lethal Weapon reference?
Lethal Weapon.
Yeah. Gary Busey.
I had a whole thing about how Boyd Holbrook is like both better and worse than Jake Busey. As I'm watching this, I'm like, man, he's like a good Jake Busey, but also bad. It's like worse than Jake Busey.
Yeah, I don't know that guy from anything else. I don't think.
Oh, he's in Narcos.
Never saw it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was trying to think where I saw him. Yep,
Wait,
he's a really good bad guy. I liked not liking him. Boyd
wait,
Holbrook.
is that his son? I'm very
Who?
confused. Who's
Jake Busey is Gary Busey's son.
Oh, I thought we were talking. Wait,
Yeah, I'm talking about
Jake
Boyd
Busey-
Holbrook.
I'm talking about Boyd Holbrook, but I was
haven't
saying
seen him in anything else. Yeah.
Boyd
Okay.
Holbrook was in Narcos
yes, that's what I thought
Yeah.
you meant.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about
We're
Jake
talking about
Busey
too,
then.
because he reminds me of Boyd Holbrook.
Oh, okay.
He's a dude who just showed up, is in everything, kind of looks striking, isn't really good, isn't really bad, it's just kind of there in movies.
He was in Logan too. He was good.
Why was he was
I never saw that
basically
either.
a traitor?
Yeah, and we
Yeah,
haven't
he was-
gotten to
'Cause he was an
his
American
motivation
helping the
was
other
a
guy.
little
Joshua.
questionable, but
Let's have Joshua finish the stuff he liked. I guess. I don't know if he's
you know,
still
you
going.
already
Yeah.
mentioned like the de-aging was really good. I think it owes a lot to, or maybe it's the other way. No, it owes a lot to Rogue One. You know, with bringing Moff Tarkin back from the grave
Oh,
with
yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
I thought about like how far it had come with Indiana Jones. Like it's pretty seamless.
It looks good. Yeah.
Looks
weird.
really damn good.
Super weird.
I
It
know
looked,
they used,
it looked
like,
a little
stunt
weird at the
double
beginning on a
for the
smaller
actual-
screen, though.
Yeah,
Smaller screen.
His
it's like-
mouth, I was like, I kind of noticed it, but I do remember watching it in real like a while back and going, "Wow, this is really good." But yeah, when I rewatched it today,
When
I
they
saw
shine the
that it was
light in his
kind of a
face,
little,
like,
Yeah.
little weird. I was like, "Oh, okay." But anyways, it's still really good. But
But overall, like the action sequences throughout the entire movie, it's such a great popcorn film.
Yep.
And there were many action sequences where my wife looked over and she was like, "Really? You gasped at that?" I was like, "Yeah, that's exciting."
Yeah, like, come on.
Exciting.
I thought his head was about to get taken off. So I was like engrossed at it. Like it was actually a really
Pass the Raisinets.
entertaining movie. So yeah, that's what I like.
Yeah.
So what didn't we like? We've got a good another 20, 30 minutes left here.
Oh,
What didn't we like?
There were a few things. For one thing, and this drives me crazy about James Bond movies and Indiana Jones movies and all these kinds of movies, is like the bad guys just keep fucking finding them, and you're like, no, they drove off in a boat and they went off into the goddamn giant, the vast expanse of the Mediterranean Sea, and he's like, they're
Go there.
going left instead of right. I bet it will be to this very, very specific cave on Sicily. And you're like, how the fuck would you know that? Also, they're marooned on a boat in the middle of the fucking Mediterranean. How the fuck did they get out of there in time to basically catch up with Indiana Jones and his crew, like, as they're getting to the cave? Like they keep catching him, and you're like, how the fuck would you catch him? You have no idea where the fuck he's going, and he had a huge head start on you.
And
And like
suspend that disbelief, baby.
when they're in the cave with it, when they find, when he just desecrates Archimedes' entire tomb, they have 5 seconds of discussion. Like, oh yeah, well, it looks like it was it. Where do you get a wristwatch from? And they're like, he got the wristwatch from time travel. And you're like, how could you be here this fast? You can't. So that shit drives me nuts a little bit, because you're like, just have him be in hot pursuit. Don't have him be like a week ahead of these guys, and then somehow they fucking catch up to him again and again and again. They're always right behind him.
Can you imagine how long the movie would be if they didn't immediately find them?
Compression of time. Do a montage. Just have him be like,
Travel by map.
they're in
By
a
map.
slightly faster boat, and the Nazis
Solved.
are in a slightly slower boat, and they land on the shore, and they're like, we better run because the Nazis don't catch up with us.
It's like The Amazing Race. It's just
It isn't that hard.
Amazing.
You know, like,
yeah,
like
but then
the-
you don't get that great formula thing where he's like, "Oh, it works. Of course it works."
Of course it
right
works.
behind him, like,
I know.
"Oh, we got
What are
us."
you fucking? What are you, a magician? You just disappear flash pots.
Of
Oh, he's here again. Fucking magical Nazi just shows up everywhere he needs to be at the exact right time to have a quip.
He's Le Chiffre. What do you want?
Yeah, that shit drives me a little crazy. I'm like, you could rearrange the plot so it was a little less like that. And the worst one was, they're going left. So I bet I know exactly where they're going in Europe.
I agree. They've been marooned in a boat that doesn't
They're
work.
marooned-
That was
There's
blown up with
no one out
dynamite.
there.
It's like, where
Yeah, how did that not sink?
Well, they show him getting
How
in
did
like
that
a
shit not
little
sink?
Yeah.
life raft or
How
something.
did it
They
not
do?
sink? Yeah.
Like, yeah, they show him getting in little like speedboat thingamajig.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll catch up.
And then who rescues them? How long does it take them back to shore in some fucking dinghy? And then they have to get another boat and then get the fuck over there. Come on, they'd have like a 3-day head start on these motherfuckers, man. That shit drives me crazy, but it's a movie. And then there's a few other things. Like I kind of didn't understand. To me, it was pretty mushy. The whole cabal of people that are joined together to fucking get the dial, where it's like there's like
in
there's like a
Tangiers. Yeah.
well, no, I mean like the CIA,
CIA
lady
thing?
with the
Yeah.
gun, and she's like, "You trigger happy cracker, what are you shooting these guys for?" I'm like, but it's the CIA and a redneck who's also training to be a Nazi, plus a giant Nazi, plus some guy on crutches who's from like Philly or something, and
He's a
then like
senator.
a bunch
Yeah.
of other shit mixed together. And like, what
You
is
got
the-
it. That's
what is
that's
the coalition here?
You just described our government.
and then a Nazi rocket scientist. I'm like, what the fuck is the coalition here? I don't understand how these people found each other. It's like Jonestown, where it's just like they just all massed around some cult leader, and there's no one knows how they even got there. And they were like sort of working with each other and sort of not, sort of competent and sort of get defeated by a war protest. Indiana
let's
Jones
back
is
up.
like, I'm just gonna run away.
How
Here.
did the Nazi survive getting hit in the face
In the
by a
fucking
water
face
tower?
by a water tower. I know,
High
it's
speed
like,
train
at least give him a scar across his
in
forehead.
1944.
At least give him like he should be the guy with dentures, not the guy from Skyfall. He should have an entire set of false
Yeah,
teeth
just
because he got
reconstruct it. Like,
smashed in the face by a water tower like 65 miles an hour.
That's what I'm saying. It'd just be like, well, he's a Nazi, and you go, oh, well, that's probably how.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
a
he
Nazi.
probably
He
got
did
one of
some
those
Nazi
Nazi
shit.
doctors to fix him
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
make him. They probably
Not
just,
that Nazis explain away everything in
they
movies.
use
James
prisoner
Mangold made
skin
like
and
2
teeth
Wolverine
to-
movies, just applied
Fucking no
the
idea.
healing factor to that guy.
Yeah, but yeah. So that part of it, I was like, can the Nazis just be chasing him? Like, why do we need Jackie Brown in the CIA and then the weird hillbilly guy and stuff? I don't know, but just make them Nazis. I don't know, make it clear. I didn't really know what the fuck was going on there. And then like, but I will say, going back to some of the earlier stuff where I was saying I like things. This has, how the Daniel Craig James Bond series brought back the brutality of Bond. Like he just became a killer again. This is one of those movies where they bring back the danger of the first Indiana Jones movie. Where like, the 2 colleagues of his from the university, they just get murdered in cold blood. I was like, that's fucking shocking. It's like shocking violence for an Indiana Jones movie. And I was like, maybe I'll show my kids this movie. Oh, maybe not. And it brings back kind of the brutality of the situations that made the movies so shocking and compelling in the first place. Like, I remember my parents brought us to the first one in the theater, and my little brother was little, and Nazis' faces were melting off. My mom kept covering my little brother's eyes, like, "Oh my God!" What they said was a family movie, and it really kind of isn't. It's really,
I mean,
an
we have
R-rated
PG-13
movie.
because of
Yeah,
Doom.
exactly. And it's an R-rated movie masquerading as a PG movie, basically. And I actually kind of did like that. They bring back, like, this is fucking war. Like the beginning of the movie is in the war, and then the rest of the movie, the 1969 part, is like the war playing itself out still. In the 60s, like it did.
It's NAB.
Yeah. So
Dr. Tim.
Like they brought
I'm
that
sorry.
back. Yeah.
What I did not like about this movie, well, to borrow a phrase from my friend Happy Gilmore, he's too old. Look at him. No, he's so old, but then he's really old in it. But then like the scene on the boat when he's talking to Phoebe and he's like, "What would you do? Where would you go back in time?" And he all of a sudden drops into like, "I'd go back and tell my son not to enlist." I'm like, God damn, he's such a fucking good actor.
That's a good ass scene, man. Yeah.
But I didn't like going back in time. That's stupid. but it's not as stupid as Aliens. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
I agree that the time travel was dog shit.
I was like,
like
it's, you know,
like actually arriving back in time, I was not prepared for it at all. Like it just totally took me out of the
Yeah.
movie. Beyond that, the thing that really bothered me was right when they're about to fly into the storm.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones has an epiphany. He's like, continental drift.
I know, yeah.
Continental drift. That like we're at the wrong place because of continental drift. And then they go through it and like, no, that was brilliant, but it's wrong. You got back to that time because Archimedes had his thumb on the scale the
Archimedes,
whole
yeah.
time, making that scene completely pointless.
Yeah.
It was a really well written scene, and it was a great like turn that would have been great if they'd arrived 10 years earlier or 10 years after or like just a hair off. But the fact that like they just completely took that, they just rolled it up and threw it in the trash, it just pissed me off. I was like, that was a great
It was
like,
smart.
really
Yeah, it was.
thing for him to do.
I thought the same thing. Yeah, I was like, I wasn't as mad about it, but I was like, it wasn't necessary then, you know?
Why? It's almost 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Like you just made me sit through a point of the
And
movie.
more stuff. It would be like if you went through the ear cave and they didn't find the fucking dial. If they went through all that shit and they were like, it turns out it wasn't here.
We were wrong.
Let's keep looking. Let's keep looking.
Yeah, so that was really bad. There's another thing that I thought of that I really did not care for. I don't like centipedes at all.
Oh,
I could not watch that scene.
oh,
The
that's such a
second I saw it, I
random
was like, oh
callback
my
to
God.
Temple
Yeah,
of Doom.
it seemed really tacked on. I was like, this is stupid.
Like I had
Why
to
are there
avert my eyes. Like, I
giant
could not watch that
hissing
scene at all,
centipedes or whatever the fuck.
They kind of worked in snakes with the eels. It's like
I like that part
Teddy
because
was like, they're kind of like snakes.
Yeah.
no, they're not.
No, they're not.
It was good because the snake thing in Crystal Skull was stupid. Like, remember that part?
I
He
didn't
like
see it.
No,
Indy's in
remember it, yeah.
quicksand, and they use a snake as a rope to pull him out of the
When
quicksand.
did that movie come out?
2000 and fucking I don't know.
Because that's the last time I saw it.
Yeah, that's the last time I saw it too. I was like, never seeing this piece of shit again. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Joshua. I interrupted you.
There was one more thing that really bothered me.
Beyond
It was
the centipedes?
another
Yeah.
little
the
thing
eels.
that seemingly just took me completely out of the movie was, okay, so he's a Nazi scientist. He got like they've done their homework enough that they know like the space program was in Alabama. Like a lot of funny jokes, like I'm not going back to Alabama.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, the writers knew what they were doing. He has this airplane, this Nazi airplane with like the swastika on it, like it's ready to go, it's oiled up. That a ground crew had to get that ready.
Yeah.
Some like a team of people had to like preserve it from the 40s and like keep it in good condition. He had to get tailored Nazi suits in 1969.
Yeah.
It's fitted for his whole crew. He had to get someone to do that for him.
eBay.
I was shocked
and I
by
just
how
call
awesome-
bullshit. Like none of that could have happened. Like there's no scenario here where a prominent like ex-Nazi scientist would be able to get his hands on all this Nazi paraphernalia or get it just created in an era where it
was
people were
definitely
still like
not
pretty pissed off about Nazis.
pro-Nazi.
It's the same people that built the Batcave. They made the Nazi uniform.
Yeah.
That just took me completely out of the film.
I loved how awesome he thought the Nazis still were and how proud he was still of being a Nazi when like the rest of all of Nazism like went to South America and tried to hide and pretend like they were regular Joes in Argentina and shit. He's just like ordering room service and he's like, "Hello, black man. Did you enjoy losing the war, winning the war, and now being in servitude? Yeah, I am a Nazi. You didn't win. Hitler lost. Think about that when you work on your lousy little job." And then he's
Wait a
like
minute.
parading around with Nazi shit everywhere. They're all like, the Alabama guys like got the German handbook. Like, you gotta learn all the Nazi words, man. Like, they were really into being Nazis still in America in 1969, you know?
Man, I hate Alabama Nazis.
I mean, if he had gone through
Them's
the
the
rift,
worst. That's some South Alabama Nazis.
Yeah,
if he had gone through the rift into the future and landed next to Elon Musk, then he'd be like, "Oh, things have improved for my lot quite a bit." That would have been a rift for him to go through.
I do
There's
think
a
that I think
couple,
the time travel thing is a bit lazy, but I mean,
But like again, I was like, as a thing, as a plot device, is it any less believable than Nazis, the Ark of the Covenant melting Nazis, or anything else that's happened?
because
in any of these
there's a
series?
supernatural component to the Ark of like religion and faith
Sure.
and
You don't
like
have to explain. You can just say,
mysticism
"Magic."
shit that like you can say that exists. Basically, like, the same thing for the cup of Christ and all the magical things that happen in that cave, and that guy turns into a skeleton because he drinks from the wrong cup.
The
Like there's
Molaram guy that
Chose
sticks his hand through
poorly.
people's chest
Also,
and pulls their
he
hearts out.
chose poorly.
How stupid is that fucking pilot for flying so goddamn low? And how amazing are those like Roman soldiers to like fire ballistas
No,
at
they're
a
good.
moving plane and just
They're
hitting
good.
it every single time?
I love how they're
that-
like, they
It's
have
their job.
dragons. They have dragons.
Yeah, I mean, they've been trained, obviously.
I mean,
Yeah, but has the pilot not been trained to maybe not fly so fucking low? Like,
no,
he's trying to stay below the radar, Joshua. I mean,
I mean,
Pilot 101.
yeah.
he's scanning for Hitler. He's like,
Below the hard
"Where-
deck.
Where's the Fuhrer? I don't see him. Look for a little mustache. We got to get really low because this mustache is so small. Oh shit! Harpoons.
It was just Archimedes' friend.
He's like, Archimedes. I
His
love how
henchman?
Archimedes. That's why I was joking about Bill and Ted earlier because Archimedes did have this like, guy from 1980s feel about him. He was just like, hey,
What's up?
I'm Archimedes.
Like you expected him to come out and be like, be excellent to each other.
I know, yeah. He's like a burly guy with a beard. He's just
Be-
like, hello?
Wild stallions.
He's like, oh, hi, I'm Archimedes.
Hi, I like
I take the
maps.
wristwatch. Oh, good. Oh, thank you
2
for
plus 2
coming.
is 7.
all right,
Wait, what?
let's grade this sucker.
All right, I got it all out of my
Next time, grade the
system.
sucker.
Yeah.
I gotta mention one more thing, guys.
One more
Honest,
thing. One more thing.
the floor is yours, Tim.
So
Dr. Tim.
in thank you. In the Indiana Jones cinematic universe, is the only way one gets a sidekick is to catch someone picking your pocket, and then
It's like an
that's like
apprenticeship.
they
Yeah.
become your Chewbacca, like it's a life debt, and they're gonna follow you around forever. Like, there's no other possible way that they could have explained how the Unibrow kid became Phoebe's sidekick. Like,
It's all pre-LinkedIn.
they're like, "What did we do the last time?" Oh yeah, he picked his pocket. And then, would it have been that hard to like just a scene in Shanghai? They got to go to Shanghai for a minute, and Indy finds short round, and like
No.
See, I thought
he's an Academy Award winner, for Christ's sake. Like,
I
I
think
thought
he
it'd be
joined the
cool-
Chinese military and died in the Korean War. That's why he's not this time.
He was with
That's
Shia.
tough.
I thought it'd be kind of. I was thinking about this. How could you have added him back? I thought it'd be really interesting if
He's down in the shipwreck. That's what I was thinking. That's like a one-eyed Willie looking shipwreck. He's down there with the rest of the Goonies in that creepy, like more eels in that ship than on the entire planet Earth.
is he dead?
What? No, he's just down there. He's like, "Oh, Indy, hi, these are my friends, the Goonies. We look at."
Oh, they were on their own adventure. They just ran into
Yeah,
them.
it's like they cross paths. He's like, "Oh, hey, shorty. Oh. You got tall."
Oh, you got the directions from Chester Copperpot. But how cool would it be if Short Round ended up being like a professor also at the same place?
That'd be
cool,
fucking
yeah.
rad. If
Yeah.
he's
Like,
a professor
if-
at Hunter,
If he was
that'd be-
retiring and then
Yeah,
Short
he's,
Round
like,
is still a
passing
professor.
off the torch.
Or like,
Yeah.
or he's working down in the subway station,
Dr.
and he's like, "Indy, where'd you get a horse?"
I
That'd be
did,
kinda-
I did like that scene where he rides the horse through the subway. I was like, that's kind of fucking
was good.
interesting. I haven't seen that one
The
before.
action scenes were pretty good.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
All right, on a scale of Hot Tub Time Machine to Groundhog Day.
I'm confused. So those are both A's. So
No,
No,
one of them is an A.
That's not
No.
for me anyway.
we're operating in a world here where Hot Tub Time Machine is not amazing.
Correct.
Can I ask
Okay,
a
I'm gonna have to
question?
adjust
Where
a little.
where does the hot tub time machine take you?
Yeah.
Back to the 80s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, did I have one? It was sort of like Archimedes, just like takes
Yeah,
you
the
back
rift,
to
the
one,
rift
one
in
place.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then this
but through a hot tub.
Groundhog Day takes you back in time to the beginning of the
Beginning
day.
of the day. Yeah. Just
Beginning of the day.
over and over. Both time
Oh,
travel
man,
mechanisms.
I had a lot of questions of like what. And I was thinking like, what's the worst time travel movie? And I gotta start thinking of these type of
Oh,
things.
yeah.
It's probably. It could be Hot Tub Time Machine.
All right. Dr. Tim, what do you grade this?
I give it like a solid B plus. And then I'd be thinking of all the first three, all of them as A's for me. Like A plus for Raiders and Last Crusade, probably like A minus for Temple, but this is like, not as good as those three. I know some people have said that like this is better than Temple of Doom. I don't think.
No, they're
I love that movie. Yeah, B plus. Short answer, B plus.
Greg?
Yeah, I would also give it a B plus. I think if I were going to rate all the Indiana Jones movies, just as memory serves now, I haven't seen some of them recently, but I would do, the first one A, Temple of Doom I would give a B, the Last Crusade I would give an A, Crystal Skull I'd give like a D plus.
It didn't happen.
And then this one I give a B plus. It was such a return to form that I was just pleased to see it, because I have a lot of affection for these movies and I grew up with them, and seeing it go out like that on the Crystal Skull, I was like, he's gonna be too old to do anymore. Fuck, they ruined it. This is Michael Jordan on the Washington Wizards with bad knees, like missing jump shots, and you're like, God, why'd you come back? You should have stayed with the third one. Fuck. But yeah, I was just very pleased to see this thing come back to form, bring some of the weird like brutality back, bring the Nazis back, punching Nazis is never going to go out of style in my
Better
camp.
not.
Yeah. And I think the addition of Phoebe Waller-Bridge is a real lifesaver for this movie. She's just like, she's just kind of like a sparkling character, like she just has all kinds of life about her and wit, and she pulls off the action sequences. She's charming. She can trick people out of stuff. She can be vulnerable. She has a lot of good quiet scenes here and there with Indiana Jones. She's fucking great in this, man. She's really enjoyable and really puts some crutches under the old man for this thing. And then it must be said, Harrison Ford is still just a really good actor. And toward the end of this movie, he had a couple scenes where I was like, this guy's a fucking national treasure. Come on. Like, I'm glad he's still doing movies. I know he's old, and it looks weird sometimes when he jumps off a boat or something. And you're like, he'd die, maybe. But I don't care. I just want to see him in
Is he in
stuff
Shrinking?
until he can't do it anymore.
Excellent in Shrinking.
He's in the Jeep commercial.
That was a weird one.
I don't know. I bought a Jeep the next day. It was pretty good.
He did an anti-Trump commercial during the election where he was just like, I've never seen a more dangerous person run for office in my life. And I was like, that's unusual. Like,
I'm
you don't
including
see
Darth
Harrison
Vader.
Ford take that stand. Yeah, I was like, wow, he didn't have to fucking do that, man. He's rich. He's set. Whatever happens, he doesn't have to worry about it.
He's like, I lived through the Palpatine
Yeah,
administration.
Yeah. Exactly.
I got Hitler's autograph. This guy's worse.
This guy's worse. I knew Palpatine when he was just a chancellor. This is like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a national treasure, and I'm super happy to see him in a good Indiana Jones movie, which I assume will be the last one, because then he'll be 93 fucking years old. Yeah.
Brian?
Yeah, I mean, now I feel like I was gonna say B plus, but I was also trying to rank them in my head. Like, I'm kind of weird. Like, I never really I kind of came to Raiders late, so I think my favorite one is still probably
Same.
Last Crusade, then Temple, then
Yeah.
Raiders, and then this is fourth. But you know what? I'm still gonna rewatch Crystal Skull because I want to see how bad.
No, I got to be honest with you. Like, you might be surprised. Especially Shia is legitimately really good. Like,
so this is still the fourth best in the series, and then but yeah, I agree. I think it was a nice. They did a good job of closing the book on Indiana Jones. I feel like he went out kind of properly, and they basically closed that character properly. Like I feel like he has closure with Marion, and then whatever. But yeah, I agree with everything, pretty much everything Greg said. I think adding the Helena character was very analogous to Marion, like from Raiders. Like they gave her the same, like a kind of the Spitfire personality and that kind of, because then even in Raiders, she's like drinks people under the table and that kind of stuff. Like she's like rough and tough and that kind of stuff. Like that's kind of, they gave her that, but also then gave her like this intelligent side to her, and she's kind of a sidekick in it. So, but yeah, I think B+. I will say I probably should have said this in the parts I didn't like. I thought it was, you probably could have chopped maybe 20 minutes off of this thing. Like
So
I feel like these type of
long.
movies,
It's very long.
like they don't need to be that, like 2 hours max, like in an action, like
There's plenty of action.
fun movie, it's like the tuk scene's 30 minutes or something. It's like, Jesus Christ, it's like
And tuk-tuks can't even drive that fast. So.
so
I've been in several, yes.
with the
helping get
mobster
everybody
chasing
going.
them over and over again in every corner of the street, but whatever. Yeah. Anyway, B+. I think it was really well done. Could it be a little shorter, but yeah, like I said, I think they went out the right way. I'd be curious though, is Last Crusade the best Indiana Jones movie? No.
I don't know if it's the best. I mean, it's
I give Raiders a slight
pretty good.
edge. Raiders a slight edge for me.
It depends on the mood, I think.
Yeah, Raiders, but Sean Connery really elevates
Sean Connery,
that movie so much. He's fucking delightful in that movie. he's just an awesome character in that.
Should have sent it to the Marx Brothers.
You said to Marcus? Like
We named the dog Indiana.
stick out like a sore thumb.
It does every time he said, Junior, you shot that man. Look what you did.
I can't believe what you just did.
He stops. He's like at the very end though. He goes, Indiana. And he's like, and he listens to his dad.
Just dude, two titans of acting like that in the same movie. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's so good. Yep.
So yeah.
All right, I was gonna give it a B+, but I just thought of something that I didn't like.
Oh,
So it's a D.
So it's gonna be
He was chewing gum and he threw it away in the trash can.
We call this the Maverick effect.
It's going to be a B because all of them would have died of diseases they don't have immunity for via time travel.
What a 2020 answer.
There are absolutely diseases that are back then that we don't have now.
Well,
and your body has
the
never been
plague.
exposed to. And there are absolutely diseases that we have that
The
they have
Trojan
never had.
clap.
I feel like they
Smallpox.
didn't interact with almost anybody though. They stood away from Archimedes and talked to him.
social
and then
They
they
just
distance.
pulled shit off of their bodies and
Well, Archimedes pulled the shit off of the body though. Like he pulled the watch off.
there you go.
Yeah, they were Nazis though.
Wiped out all of Sicily.
The Nazis.
Nazis down. The
Very
germaphobes.
antiseptic. Yeah, we have no germs on our body.
Anyway, I give it a B. I agree with everyone's ranking of the movies, even though I've never seen Crystal Skull.
Nobody ranked
Yeah, I think this one definitely is behind the original three, for all the reasons stated. And I didn't see this movie because I'd heard such terrible things about the fourth one.
Yeah, me
And I
too.
kind of regret that because this ended up being a pretty damn good movie.
Well,
Was
now
it
you got to go
you-
back and watch the fourth one. Because I'm going to do it. I like I said, I saw it when it came out. I haven't seen it since. Maybe it's giving it unjust hate. I mean, to the same point that Greg made, like I remember being so psyched about Phantom Menace, and I'm scared to go back and watch that because I bet it's so fucking shitty. But
Yeah, it's not good.
Do you guys think? So there was some talk. I remember.
I don't.
Oh, sorry. Never mind. Then No, there was some talk when the fourth movie came out about Shia maybe taking over the franchise somehow. And that there's a scene at the end of the wedding where he actually puts Indy's hat on, or he's about to, and then Indy takes it, and people are like, "Well, is this kind of like a backdoor, continuation hint?" Is there any, or what do you guys think? Is there any talk of, or could they do something like that with Phoebe?
It'll get rebooted.
pass the torch on.
Yeah, maybe her own Disney Plus series. Everybody gets one.
I know, right? I think what Joshua said is correct. They'll do these again, but they'll just start over with a different set of actors and modern sensibilities.
Like James Bond it?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is fine. Like, as long as there's a lot of little stories out there of Indiana Jones punching Nazis, then I think that's great.
Yeah.
Like, there's room for that art in our
It's
world.
totally
The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Yeah, it's
I
like
was the only one that watched them.
It's like at some point they're going to redo the whole Harry Potter series. You know,
They are.
They're already redoing it
Are
now.
they
I
really?
think.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, there you go. Yeah.
think
The
Harry
Harry Potter
series.
and the Crystal Skull.
Yep.
Harry Potter and the Crystal Skull. No! Don't do it.
All right, everybody say bye so I can stop the recording.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Riding the bus to work, reading cartoons in newsreel magazine, listening to massive attack.
I got Hitler's autograph. This guy's worse.